Ignat's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central. For David Dunn! David Dunn equalises! It just had to be! Dax corner and it goes. Glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good evening, Rovers fans from down here in the bottom right. This is a new place for me, and welcome to our usual pre-match stream as Rovers entertain Rotherham United. There we go. I've made a shift up to the left. Look at that. Rovers entertaining Rotherham United at Ewood Park tonight, with the team news landing in about half an hour's time, and we will obviously react to that as it lands. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. As usual, we have got Joe, Luke and Howard tonight. How are you guys?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Very well, cheers.
Good stuff, good stuff. Just a few reminders, Rovers fans. Please, as ever, interact with us this evening in the comments box. Let us know your thoughts, let us know your opinions, and we will pick them up through the show as usual. If you are not following us on Twitter, it is Rovers_chat on Twitter, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Rovers Chat, to stay up to date with all of our content, which is coming thick and fast through these festive games and through this mammoth block of 12 games as well. There's videos every day, so hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. Just a final reminder for you, Rovers fans. We have the Big Fat Rovers Quiz of the Year landing on the 23rd of December, which I'm hoping that you've seen on our social media channels. It's on the screen there. It's 7 p.m. This is going to be a big collaboration between Lancs Live. We've got Jacob from Lancs Live who'll be joining us. Rovers Chat, we have got the legend, which is Luke Kimberley, representing Rovers Chat.
Guilty.
BRFCS, Joe, it's Ian from BRFCS, isn't it?
That's the plan so far, although I'm told from sources, Ian, that he might be a little bit apprehensive about his abilities to do well in the quiz, so we'll see.
And then we've got Rich Sharp from the Lancs Telegraph, who will be representing them. So it'll be a nice bit of fun just before Christmas. Do join us. It'll be nice and interactive. There's loads of special guest appearances, lots of different questions. And as a little teaser for you all this evening, we announced Elliot Bennett yesterday. I hope you saw that on our social media channels. It might have been the day before. We've got a reveal tonight, and Joe is going to be revealing it later on. So you're going to have to stay with us to find out who that is. We're really excited with the people who are taking part in this. So stay with us, and you will find out who that is a little bit later on. Dizzy Thumbs, I'm going to just give you the first comment, actually. 5:20 a.m. in Tasmania now. Let's go Blackburn Rovers. Dizzy, you join us all the time. That is ultimate respect there, getting up at that godly hour. So delighted to have you, Dizzy, live in Tasmania. So the first order of business today, guys, is this 12-game block, which we have focused on quite a lot on the pre- and post-match shows. We've all reflected before the Luton game, which was the first one. And then as we've gone through the games, these last 12 games have been quite important for seeing how the season is going to go and where we're going to be by the end of it. Howard, I'm going to come to you first, just for your reflections on where we are at. You know, we're 7 games in. The last 2 results have obviously been disappointing. How do you feel Rovers are 7 games into that 12-game block and with where we are in the table at the moment?
I personally feel a lot more confident with the team than I was during the international break. But looking at the league table and the points that were off the playoffs where we were hoping to be, it's kind of a similar position, really, isn't it? I mean, the two losses recently have really knocked us back a lot, haven't they? Because the teams have won around us, which is the big problem. Which puts a lot of importance on today's game, in my opinion. We can't be slipping up, can we, today? We need to make sure we stamp our ground. I mean, it's at the end of the day, they might not see it as that, but it is a Rotherham today, isn't it? They're the teams that we've beaten this season quite comfortably, and I'd hope that we can carry that on today and get a good result. But in terms of the league position, it's I won't say it's concerning at all yet. it's still a long way to go, isn't it? Is it 6 points or so off? But it's one of those things, isn't it? There's so many teams around us that we just have to hope that we're the one, aren't we? But yeah, in that 12-game block, I was hoping that we could have maybe got at least a point against one of the last two teams, Bristol City and Norwich. Maybe even a win in the Bristol City game. I think as much as we didn't take our chances in that game or carve a really good chance, we still probably edged it, which I don't know. We kind of just needed to hope that one of them half chances just got a bit of luck, like the Millwall game. But it just never happened for us, did it? And it's just that looming factor about us not beating the team around us that I think is really holding us back at the moment. And if we win today, we don't really learn anything new about this Rovers team, do we? We needed to be beating at least one of the last two teams. But I still remain confident. I always will be. I think I can't help but be hopeful of this Rovers team. I think we have to be, really, don't we? Otherwise, we'll be miserable as anything.
We do. Luke, I'm going to come to you next. And we're going to bring up a graphic here of the last 7 to 8 games. I've been doing a lot of, looking into the table and how teams have been playing. So this table that we brought up here is all of the games since the 21st of November after the international break, which was the start of that 12-game block. The teams that have played 8 games obviously played last night. Looking at that table, Luke, the last 2 games, we did reflect on it on Saturday that it's easy for our fan base to maybe feel a bit reactionary and a bit disappointed and whatever. But actually, when you look at, where we are at in that last 7-game table, the last 8-game table, we're doing okay, aren't we, in terms of the results in comparison to everyone else? And with everything that we've spoken about before, injuries and rotation and the games thick and fast. What's your view looking at that table there?
I think it's cracking results that we've picked up over then. Like, to see ourselves there, 11 points. Look, you look at Barnsley, for example. We picked up points off them. They're a team well in form. Millwall's a sticky one that we could have dropped points. Preston, really tough game for us. So we've picked up some. There's some difficult games in there. We've picked points that Rovers teams of old would have slipped up, maybe dropped points in them games. Your Rotherhams, for example, that's a game that could really cause us trouble. But they're the games that we've actually been getting points in. Usually Rovers teams would pick up scalps. I'm a Rovers fan of old, so I remember the Premier League days of us being the underdog and beating the likes of Manchester United. Picking up points off Chelsea, the big 4, big 6, and really making ground that way. But we've actually done okay in this block of games. And when people were looking, certainly on this panel, looking at that block of 12, there was a bit of scepticism whether we'd pick up points there, and we find ourselves in a pretty good position. And but for the last 2 games, we've done pretty well. I think there's no crisis here at Blackburn. We've lost 2 games. It's narrow margins, and they've been decent sides. Like Howard said, obviously the teams around us, and we'd like to be picking points up against them, and I'm sure that'll come. But for now, we've got to be pretty happy with how we've performed and the points that we've picked up. 'Cause it could be a lot worse. So I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty optimistic. So.
And Joe, just coming to you, if Rovers were to win tonight, there would only be Barnsley with their 5 wins from 8 games, and then potentially Cardiff tonight. If they win, they'll also have 5 wins from the 8 games. If we do win, that's 4 wins, and there's not many that have got 4 wins in there. Obviously, Norwich. I'm just ignoring Norwich for the time being with them up there, and we're talking our rivals. 5 wins, 4 wins, for Rovers in those 8 games, and in comparison to everyone else. That's a good return, isn't it? With the amount of games and the injuries, isn't it? What's your views, just again, looking at this table and looking at how that shakes out?
Well, I think, that word comparisons, it's all relative to where you are, isn't it? Arsenal have just gone 1-0 down to a Theo Walcott goal, already in turbulent times, and they're going to be... if Rovers lose tonight against Rotherham, I'm sure there'll be some frustration and some anger, but I don't know if we'll be reaching the point of where the Arsenal fans' feelings are at. So it's all relative to where you are in the league, because we'd love to be Arsenal right now. I'd love to be losing to Southampton in a 60,000 seater stadium, comfortable in the Premier League, or comfortable enough, having had a very long time in that division. So yeah, it's relative. Blackburn are where they are in that form table, and really, I think we're just going to have to see after today's game. I didn't expect us to beat Norwich, and we lost. I expect us to win tonight, and I'm pretty sure we will. And even when we do, we can sit here and say, yeah, we're bang on track. I think if we lose the game, then we can say, okay, maybe we're off course here.
Yeah, and I went a bit further into this as well, because I think certainly the last three games, the Brentford, Bristol City and Norwich games, there was that disappointment that we're not beating the sides in the top six. And I was looking at all of these sides, and actually the rate of victories against the likes of Norwich, Watford, Bournemouth is quite low. So Swansea lost to Norwich on the 7th of November, drew with Bournemouth, drew with Brentford, lost to Middlesbrough. Brentford drew with Rovers, drew with Watford, beat Barnsley. Reading lost to Bournemouth, but beat Bristol City. Barnsley's 5 wins are all against sides below them. So Preston, Sheff Wednesday, Wycombe, Birmingham, Forest, they've lost to Rovers, Brentford and Bournemouth. Cardiff are the one that have got some good results, actually. They actually beat Watford and beat Stoke as well, and they've got a chance to get another win tonight. So actually all these sides in and around us are getting fairly similar results to us. So with all of that, Howard, I think when I was on the post-match stream on Saturday, I started thinking of this Rotherham game as a bit of a must-win and maybe unnecessarily putting a bit of pressure on it. Now I've looked into this table and seen how everyone's playing and seen how everyone else's results have been. I think I'm going to take the pressure off a little bit. Did you ever have it as a must-win, or have you changed your view now looking at some of that stats?
I always felt as this game was a must-win. It's a game. I mean, it's a game that we have to win, isn't it? Really, but I don't know. Must-win's a weird one, isn't it? Because must-win games are usually thrown about when a team's desperate. But I suppose we're not overly desperate, are we? But it is a game that we should be winning. So is it a must-win based off that? Probably. I don't know. I always felt it's a bit of a weird one, but I mean, if we don't win today, we all feel a bit disheartened and disappointed, don't we? I mean, we've not beat. I remember us not beating Rotherham a few seasons ago, and it was just a bit of a sucker punch because they're just a team we should be beating, aren't they? I mean, realistically, we're not going to be competing at all if we're not picking up these type of points away. That's the thing. As good as the position is that we're in at the moment now, and how big of an opportunity we have, we can't waste it by just not turning up today, can we? But yeah, I don't know. Must win's a weird tag for me, and I've never really quite grasped what it actually means, because I think we should win today, but I don't know if that means that it's a must win. I've always found it a bit weird.
Yeah, and just picking up the comments here, Ben the Boss Jackson, we should be beating Rotherham. Anything less is a disappointing result. We should have no fear. I think, yeah, any season, with the greatest respect to Rotherham, and Rotherham would say this themselves, we should be beating Rotherham if we've got aspirations. Luke, I'm going to give you the final word on this before we move on to a different topic. We spoke about, again, on the post-match stream on Saturday, the desired points total from this block of 12. And I think we've been hovering around that 24, 25 mark as everyone's kind of aspiration. And then when we spoke about that on Saturday post-match, we were like, well, actually, for Rovers to do that now, that's 4 wins in the 5 games. Now I've seen this form table and seen the rate of points everyone's got, I think I'm going to be more content with 20, 21 points and actually maybe 3 wins from 5. Which seems a bit more achievable for us. Obviously, after the Rotherham game, of course, as well. Where are you now you've seen this? Are you taking the pressure off a little bit as well?
Yeah, I don't think there's any real pressure at this stage. You've got to look at it over the course of a season, and I think you end up where you deserve to be. So to put too much pressure on these games that are upcoming, might be counterproductive to the season. I don't see any reason why we can't pick up the points. These are, the winnable games in the Championship. Every game in the Championship is a tough game. There's no doubt about that. But if we see ourselves as a side that's challenging for the top 6, then they are winnable games. You look at the next few, for example, Stoke, Sheff Wednesday. I think we've got Birmingham, Huddersfield as well, the other way around. But so they are all winnable games. All sticky in their own way. Like I said, like your Millwalls, your Barnsleys, they're always sides that we could slip up against, but we could also pick up points. But to put too much pressure on it, like I say, might be counterproductive. Really, I've been looking at it, and I think, obviously not on a quality level, but I've been looking at Chelsea recently, and I see us in a similar situation to them. They were a side that were free scoring, quite happily scoring goals, turning teams over, and that's exactly what we've been like. And almost, in an identical fashion, with the scoring's dried up at a similar time. I think as soon as that comes back, we'll get a mojo back a bit, because it is fine margins, and as soon as we get scoring again and get that momentum, we'll pick points up. I've no doubt about that.
Yeah, just we'll finish there on that one before we move to Joe. I just wanted to. It felt a bit that we were all disappointed on Saturday, and with not beating the sides above us, I think there was reasons for us to be maybe less optimistic than usual. So I just wanted to dig into the table and see how everyone else was doing. And I've actually got a lot of crumb of comfort from that, actually, just seeing those other results and seeing where Rovers sit in comparison. And you're right, Luke, there's no need to put any pressure on the game whatsoever at the moment. But yeah, as is reflected in the comments, I'll just whiz through these really quickly. FM works individually and positionally. We beat them man for man. It's a must win. Stephen Mason, we just play all the hard teams. If we can beat most of the mid-table teams and the bottom team, we should get into the playoffs. Michael Pearson, yeah, great word, a should win. I think that's a good way of putting it. And Leap Year Man's backed that up with, we should be winning against Rotherham. But issue is, if we don't, the gap to 6 becomes larger. And then Alexander Haven, I think because of the last 2 games, just generally it's a should win. No disrespect to Rotherham, but I can't help thinking about the Luton game. So I think it's a should win, but I think I've just gone through a self-therapy exercise looking at everyone else's results and not worrying too much. So hopefully we do win the game today. And if we do win, we're going to be shaping up really nicely against those other sides in and around us. So as you say, lots of reasons to be optimistic there. Joe, I'm going to come to you if I can. To take us through the next part. The Rovers Analytics site, you pushed out some really good stats and some data on Thomas Kaminski in comparison to our other keepers today, and I found that stuff fascinating. So did you want to just talk us through that? Not on mute.
He's done it. He's done it.
Oh, God, I've done it, haven't I? Oh, we should get a compilation of those at the end of the season and show how many times we all do that. Right, okay. I'll try and rattle through this stuff because I'm conscious of time. We need to do our preferred exercise before the actual team news comes out. So yeah, you can check it out for yourselves on Twitter, obviously, at Analytics Rovers. But yeah, so starting with Thomas Kaminski, just looking at his data really, which isolated won't mean much to a lot of people. XCG is expected conceded goals. ACG is actual conceded goals, and they're both per 90. So Thomas Kaminski was expected so far this season to concede an average of 1.06, which kind of talks to the ability of a defence in general, including the defenders. And then his actual conceded goals is 0.99. So he's actually saving more shots than we would expect him to. And you can see his heat map there as well. So if we look at Walton for the 1920 season, you can see there's a huge difference there in those 2 stats I was talking about and the heat map. So Walton was expected to concede 1.12 and actually conceded more than that in 1.27. So you can see there's a major difference there. But actually, 1.27 goals conceded per game isn't too bad. But you can see a huge difference in the heat map and the pass accuracy as well. And then we'll quickly look at David Raya from the 18-19 season. So unlike Walton, David Raya did save the shots he was expected to save, but I think that 1.45 figure being higher speaks again to the quality of the defence in front of him. Nice high pass accuracy, and you can see in the heat map as well. I think we've got a slide on the heat maps just up next, which kind of shows you the progression of Rovers' tactics. So David Raya, 18-19, in the box, nice and deep. A traditional goalkeeper, really. Walton, we started progressing forward a little bit, trying to use the goalkeeper more in the end of 1920 season. And then Kaminski, I mean, there's, bits of that heat map that reach over, the halfway point of that half of the pitch. He's everywhere. And that speaks not only to his abilities, but also to the way we've changed over the 3 seasons. So I've got a graph next, which kind of shows you what that really means. So you can see Kaminski, Walton and Raya there. We've got expected and actual compared on the axis there, and there's a bit of a write-up there, and if you want to read through that, you can check out the Twitter thread itself, and the next graphic kind of shows you what I was talking about there with Kaminsky. Goals against is less than what was expected, Walton's goals against more than what was expected, and Raya bang on equal, but obviously much higher because of the defence. So in general, we like Thomas Kaminsky, and we're all big fans of him.
We absolutely are. And though that graph that you just showed at the end there, Joe, I think if we all remember those three keepers and obviously Kaminsky, who we've got now, David Raya for the season that you picked there, I don't think I remember him making a mistake in that season. I think he had a couple of clangers in League One, but I think that first season back, that data, I think he was generally okay unless someone's going to correct me. So that goes as a given that those two charts are the same. Christie and Walton, unfortunately, we can probably pick those mistakes out from last season, can't we? Which shows that diversion in the two graphs you've shown there. And then, Thomas Kaminsky, if I think back to was it Hoylett against Cardiff, that wonder save that he tipped over the bar and stuff like that, they're the saves that are sticking in my head as well. So, no, really interesting stuff. And for those of you that don't follow the Rovers Analytics site, please do give it a follow. What's the Twitter account, Joe? It's
at Analytics Rovers. Unfortunately, as with most things on social media, you can't always get what you want, can you? So you type in Rovers Analytics, it should come up. We've built a decent follower base now, and thanks to FM Works for the kind words in the comments as well.
Definitely. Yes. We always like to showcase that stuff on this stream, don't we? The stuff that Joe does. Sorry, Luke.
So I was saying it's worth saying that's some fantastic work, echoing what FM Works said, given that there's not a lot of stats that you can pull from goalkeepers. So to pull that together is impressive. So well done.
Thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, Kevin Bradshaw's corrected me. That was when he gave away the penalty, wasn't it? Didn't Raya have a flap against Birmingham that season? Did he foul someone on the edge of the box? They got penalty. Yeah. Was it 1-1? I think it was 1-1. I think so. So, good correction, Kevin. Before we do our predicted 11s, I need a slap on the wrist because I forgot to tell you all about our sponsors, 6yardsout.com. So we're going to run that now, and then we're going to do our predicted 11s. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below. Hopefully I am not on 6 Yards Out's naughty list this year, and they will still take my custom for forgetting their sponsor message. So thank you to the guys there. So it's about 5 minutes or so before the team news lands. So as usual, we are going to run through our predicted 11s. And because of the hectic nature of my day, I don't even know who's first. So I'm going to see who pops up first on the screen and ask you to focus on a player as usual. So here we go. It's Howard. It's you.
Hey.
Talk about your lineup and focus on one player if you can.
Yes, I've made a few changes to mine, but if I focus on one player, I'll focus on Amari Bell. I think Barry Douglas had a tough couple of games, hasn't he? That's fair to say. I think the overreaction from fans that he's been shocking since we signed him is completely stupid. I don't understand where it's come from, but I think a sensible thing to do today maybe was to give him a bit of a rest. Amari Bell's not started a game in a while from what I can remember, so I think it might be a good opportunity to maybe just give that bit of rotation. We talk about rotation a lot on here, and I think it is important with the type of squad that we have, because we do have a lot of players that could pick up niggles quite easily. And I think that there might be a little bit sensible for Amari Bell just to maybe get a few more minutes in a game like this that I think we can afford to almost. I think I put players like Buckley and Dolan in as well. I think Gallagher didn't really have much impact for me on against Norwich and against Bristol City, and I think that it might be a little bit sensible just to give that a bit of a change, give Dolan a chance. And with Buckley, I think it's between him and Downing, isn't it? I won't start Lewis Holtby today, and I think that's the team I've gone for. I think a few changes, but not massive to the team.
Great. Who's next? Here we go. It's a surprise. It's Luke.
Oh, get it. My team's very much consistent with what we've been doing. I like consistency. I think consistency brings results. The one change that I've brought in is Iola, and I think it's no disrespect to Lenian. He's had a couple of difficult games. I think I think people hammering him, saying that he's been poor, he's been this, he's been that. I don't think that's the case. But I'd just like to take him out the firing line at the moment. Ayala's been pretty good when he's come in. I think that Mowbray is using them two on the right side, and it is going to be a rotation thing with them two. So I think Ayala's very capable of coming in there and filling in and helping us get a result tonight. So that's where I'm sitting on the team this game.
Excellent. I'm going to assume it's Joe. Yes, Joe is next. Talk about yours, Joe.
Oh, interesting. Sam Gallagher. Oh, damn. Oh, what's going on there? I have gone for Dolan. So that should say Dolan. Don't worry about it. I've put Downing in my team. I think Downing deserves some game time. Came on against Millwall, and I think he was important to that winning goal. And we've not seen enough of him. And it's the kind of game where I think he can thrive in, really. And I also think it's a game for Barry Douglas, really. Kind of opposite to what might have been said before, just because I think Rotherham, quite a League One type team, I think we might get a goal from a set piece, and I think you need a decent set piece taker on the pitch, really. Ayala Lenihan, I don't think Williams Lenihan worked particularly well. So yeah, that's what I'd go for.
Excellent. So it's over to me. I've gone for Amari Bell, mainly on the basis of what the Rotherham fan told me last night. They've got a very, very quick right back, which would just, or right wing back even. So that would just scare me against Barry Douglas after playing a few games. So I went for Amari Bell just mainly to match his pace. I've also gone for Dolan just to get a bit of pace down that side. He did reflect that one of their centre backs is pretty slow and could be exploited. So bit of raw pace in the attack with Dolan, Armstrong and Elliott just to try and get in behind Rotherham that way. And then I've stuck with Williams and Lenihan. I just can't see Mowbray dropping Lenihan. I think he's going to be the first, and then it's a choice between Ayala and Williams. And I think now I've seen the centre-back pairings, I think we need Williams on the left and Ayala in his proper position, as you've coveted before, Joe. So that's the reason for mine. Before the team news lands, we're going to hop off our predicted 11s. And Joe, I'm going to get you to do the big reveal. Who is the player?
Yeah, so we've got loads more to announce before the actual day of the quiz on the 23rd. And before I reveal kind of who it is, we have so far managed to raise £138. Obviously, that's great considering we haven't even started the live stream yet. It's all going down on the 23rd at 7 p.m. We're raising money for the Salvation Army. And basically, over the next week, we're just going to be releasing more and more names of different people, different former Rovers and current Rovers and famous Rover supporters that are going to be involved and special guest appearing alongside our illustrious panel. We revealed Elliot Bennett on Monday, and I can reveal that Matt Kilgallen, former centre-back, will also be joining us as a special guest on the show. We've got loads more to announce, some really big ones, and one that I think everyone's going to be really super excited with. But you will have to wait and see.
Brilliant. What I'll say just on behalf of everyone at Rovers Chat, Joe and Dan from our site are putting a hell of a lot of work into this quiz. So, I'll publicly say that here, Joe. It's a top effort, and to get these special guest appearances, we're really excited about it as well. So I think the silver lining, the golden lining, if you want to call it that, is raising that money for the Salvation Army as well. What a fantastic cause. So hopefully we can raise a load of money for them at a really important time of year for people as well. So hats off to you, Joe. Hats off to Dan as well. It's fantastic. Now, I actually have seen the team news live on the ticker rather than cheating and going on Twitter. So I'll wait for it to come back here. It's just about to get at the other end. I'm assuming it is Kaminsky in goal. I can talk slowly. There we go. Kaminsky, Nyambi, Lenihan, Ayala, Douglas, Johnson, Rothwell, Buckley, Elliott, Gallagher and Armstrong. So, Howard, give us your first reactions to that. You had John Buckley on your side, for example. Mowbray's been listening to you. What's your thoughts on the side?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think this is certainly a strong enough side to get us the result, isn't it? I think that Gallagher was one that I was a little bit iffy on. I didn't know whether he maybe would have dropped back onto the bench, and been that more impact maybe if the game wasn't going our way. But you can't complain too much. Brad Lyons is an interesting one on the bench as well. He's someone that's never really been given a chance in the first team. As they say, he must have made that a good impression when he scored the 2 goals not long ago. So that's good to see.
It is. And Luke, just your instant reactions to that side. You know, we have reflected the fact that it's Rotherham and it's a should win. And, you know, these are the types of games that we should be trying to win or should be winning if we want to make the playoffs, of course. You know, that side looks good on paper, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm chuffed with that side. It'd be nice to see Buckley get a run out from the start. I think Howard made a good point in what he was saying about him predicting that he'll get in the side. I'd like to see him hit the ground running. Really, he's shown spells, particularly in the previous season. Off the bench, he shows these glimpses, but he's really good on the ball. He can pass the ball. He just don't do it enough for me. But I think that's down to the fact that he doesn't play enough. So let's see a little bit more from him tonight, and hopefully he takes that chance. Lenihan and Ayala, we've made a lot about their pairing, so it's a good game for them today to hopefully gain an understanding and get a bit of momentum for a partnership moving forward. Again, that's no disrespect to Rotherham, but there's more tricky sides in this division that, you know, the two of them could have come unstuck if there's any issues there. So it'd be a really nice one for them two to really hit the ground running as a partnership. And again, the consistency with the 3 up top, I like that. It's been working well in previous games. Yes, the last couple of games we've come a bit unstuck in front of goal, but as soon as Adam Armstrong gets his shooting boots on, he'll be worth 10 million again, Ryan. So we'll all be good.
I'm gonna honestly, like, I can't wait. I can't wait for when it's 10 million because he's not signed the new contract. I'm just gonna have party streamers and everything, and then cry in my bed. But no, Luke, on a genuine point, you know, the consistency thing that you've spoken about there, you know, I'm liking the fact that we're seeing these names now: Kaminsky, Nyambe, Lenihan, Johnson, Rothwell, Elliott. We're seeing them every week now, and we've said before, haven't we, that sides that get promoted out this division, you can name a really big percentage of their starting 11. So yeah, I like that as well. Joe, I'm going to come on to you then, if I can. Your reaction to the starting 11 and the subs as well. I think you've taken note of.
Yeah, interesting team. Very excited about John Buckley. Great game to throw him in on, really. And I do believe that he'll link up quite well, of course, on the right hand side with Harvey Elliott. You know, so yeah, definitely an interesting one. Not perhaps a substitutes bench that we saw coming. You know, Gallagher, is that an injury or, you know? Sorry, ignore me. He's on the... Yeah, sorry. I'm just reading it at the bottom. I haven't actually seen it myself, and I'm thinking... Because it's coming across as sub, and I'm thinking, where's the first team? And I'm like, oh, right, so there's no Gallagher then, but he's obviously playing. So ignore me there. I was just getting confused. So yeah, Buckley, I'm excited to see how he links up with Harvey Elliott. I'm glad that he's playing, and I can see Adam Armstrong getting a brace today against a team like this. I think, you know, you think back to Wickham, Coventry, Derby, all the teams down the bottom, we usually win. So yeah, I'm glad he's put out a nice footballing type team with Buckley on the pitch.
Yeah, I like the look of it as well. And I'm just going to pick up some of the comments because there are a few little bites in here, you know, a few areas of concern. So Abby Sahar and El Scotty, no Williams. Is he sub or did I miss it? Williams not in the squad, and we are scrolling across the bottom now that he's got a tight quadricep, so that's a shame. Alexander Haven, yeah, no Davenport. That's another one that I've not picked up. And then Leap Year Man's made a really good comment. Plenty of midfielders on the bench, minus Brio. Are we concerned about the lack of striker depth? So Howard, again, we focused on Saturday and the previous 2 games maybe about the lack of plan B when Sam Gallagher is on the pitch, and there are a lot of midfielders on that bench. Really, we shouldn't be needing a plan B today or be hoping for a plan B to win the game. But does that concern you that if we do need to shake it up, can we with those subs that we've got there?
Yeah, there's a lot of very similar players on the bench, isn't there? You know, your Dolans and Chapmans are moderately similar when they come on and make an impact, I suppose. And then there's just a lot of the midfielders that will just come on like they have done in the previous games and sometimes make an impact, but most of the time just never really do too much. But that's one of my big. It's not an issue. I think that's the wrong word, but it's one of the reasons why I've wanted Sam Gallagher to be on the bench a little bit more often, just in case, because I thought you never know, do you really? I mean, I've mentioned it previously, but I just remember the Rotherham game when we got promoted back to this league, and we absolutely battered them for 70 minutes, and they went 1-0 up out of absolutely nothing. And then I think we scored really late on. I think it was like a Dak penalty or something like that, and it was just. You just never know, do you, with these teams? They come, they sit back, they can ride the luck sometimes, then maybe just nick it. And I think with Gallagher on the bench, if that's not working, say the 50th minute, it's still 0-0, you can bring him on and you can change the game. You can give him a bit of height to worry about. But one of the comments that's been mentioned about Dan Butterworth, and Dan Butterworth's a player that I'd love to be on the bench because I think he's someone that can come on. If someone like Armstrong gets hurt or a thing like that, I can not almost be light for light, but they're very similar traits. They're kind of the small, tough type strikers who have a good eye for goal. And I think Dan Butterworth could be someone in that strike force that we're mentioning that could be a really big player for us coming forward, especially if injuries keep coming our way.
Yeah, that's right, Howard. Absolutely. Luke, there's a lot of love for John Buckley in the comments. Gaz Israel, I like Buckley technically, but he really does need to add some physicality to his game. Alexander Haben will be good to see more of Buckley. Michael Pearson, fan of Buckley, always looks forward and plays the positive pass. Think he'll shine tonight. And I think I remember seeing some stats about Buckley as well, about the number of forward passes that he's done is quite high up in the division, even with the small amount of games he's played. Excuse me. So, Luke, with the side we've got there and with someone like Buckley in the side, it looks on paper a really good footballing side tonight, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not going to let you off on this again, Ryan. So Stephen Mason, just to make it perfectly clear, I'm aware that Adam Armstrong is worth more than 10 million. It's Ryan that isn't. So, sorry, Ryan.
I'm choking on mute there.
He's not sorry. He's not sorry. He would do it again.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not being called out on that.
Fair play.
Yeah, no, jokes. Anyway, so yeah, Buckley. I agree. It gives us something similar to Holtby. I can see exactly why he's been brought in instead of Holtby. Again, we've spoke about Holtby in previous streams. That he has sort of looked a bit jaded and he's played a lot of games compared to previous seasons where he's not had so much game time and he's maybe playing in a slightly different position and it's expecting a little bit more of him this season. So. I mean, I didn't predict it, but I'm not shocked that Holtby's been brought out of the side today and been brought out of the firing line a bit. And Buckley's a perfect swap to fill in there and give us that same positivity, the passing, the eye for a pass, and you can see Mowbray's not shying away from the same formation and the same style that he's been wanting to play. He's using the players at his disposal wisely and using similar players in order to get a relative same output. So I like that idea and I like that we've got a bit of depth now to our squad to bring players like Buckley in and be confident that he can do a job. I also think that the addition of Brad Lyons is a good one, as Howard said, and I think given his past, I know he was a young boy when he moved over the pond to come to Rovers, but he was a great contributor to goals. So I think if things aren't going too well tonight, and we see a frustrated Adam Armstrong again, I think that might be where Brad Lyons just comes in, and it might be then a little nod to where we might go when Bradley Dack comes back and perhaps a false nine and just change things up a little bit, given that we haven't got any strikers on the bench. So it'll be interesting to see if Brad Lyons gets on the pitch and how he's used. But it's just nice to see him on the bench and see more players coming through that 23s. That seems to be a good avenue for us as a club.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm pleased to see him as well. He signed, when did he sign? About a year or so ago, and to see him on the bench now, it's nice again to see another one make it Joe, when I
Yeah.
spoke to Mick, the Rotherham fan, last night, he said that Rotherham have had a bit of joy this season with the pressing game, particularly at home. But he says there's been a couple of away games where they have affected the press pretty well. We saw that from Barnsley when they came to Ewood Park, and in particular, we struggled in the first half. Sorry, I think we struggled to deal with that with Barnsley. Do you think Mowbray, with selecting the likes of Buckley, who we know can get the ball forward quickly, in a passing sense and can dribble with it if he needs to, do you think Mowbray's potentially picked this side today with players like, Barry Douglas, players like John Buckley? Do you think we're going to try and just pass through that press? And, what type of game are you seeing there from Mowbray?
Not to try and claim to know more than a Rotherham fan, but I would be massively surprised if they come and press us today. Barnsley did, and Barnsley are in form, and Barnsley have some quite good confidence, and they're winning football games. But I just can't see Rotherham doing it, especially if they've got slow defenders. It would be suicide from them. Wickham did it and lost 5-0, because if you try and press against a side like us and you don't get it 95% right, you're going to lose the game by a significant amount of goals. So I would imagine they'll sit in a low block. And that's why I think Buckley's inclusion is important. I think back to the QPR game, that opening goal, Brereton, where he kind of flicked it off his left foot. That ball into the box came from Buckley after a short corner. And it's that kind of eye for a pass that breaks down low block defences like that for me.
No, I was also surprised when he said last night about the press, and I do think that the stats from a Rotherham sense are there. They don't lie. Their away form is a lot poorer than their home form. So I also would be surprised if that happened. Joe, just sticking with you, if they did go with that type of approach, we've seen some teams get some joy with that type of low block and whatever. Cardiff and Nottingham Forest to some degree as well. Do you think we're going to have to be patient tonight? Do you think Rotherham are going to seek to frustrate us and maybe hit us on the break with those quick wing backs? How do you see the game going in that sense, if it is that type of formation that you've said there?
I think it all comes down to a bit of luck, really. If we get the first goal, I really don't think there'll be any looking back. I think we're still to lose a game after taking the lead in a game this season, or at least for a long time, perhaps even beyond and back before this season. So yeah, if we get that first goal, I've got no worries, and I think at that stage Rotherham would have to come out a bit more. If we don't get that first goal in the first half, or if it's 0-0, or if they go 1-0 up, it could become a very frustrating evening. But that's all going to rely on how things go in the game, and what the referee's like, and if he's going to let things flow. So I think we'll know more after the game, obviously, and that's probably a bit of a stupid thing to say. Of course, we'll know more after the game, but I think it's really hard to predict with teams like that whether they're going to come and press or come and sit.
No, for sure. Rovers fans, we'll end the stream fairly shortly. So if there's any questions that you want to ask us whilst we've got a little bit of time before it ends, anything about Rovers, anything about the season, anything about the game, hit it in the comments box and we will pick it up and give that a discussion. And then towards the end, we will ask you for your score predictions as well before we close the stream. Just to pick up some of the comments that we've had, Ryan Lambert, be interesting to see how Buckley fares tonight and what role he ends up playing. Always saw Buckley as a number 10. Would love to be able, he would love him to be able to link midfield to top three a bit more today. And then also following on Ryan Lambert, the press would suit us. We struggle to create meaningful chances when opposition are sat deep. So with what Joe has said there, Ryan, it might be that we're going to have to be a bit more patient and not expect that press. And then FM Works, I hope Gallagher tracks back tonight if the press in Rotherham come to Ewood. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Rotherham do turn up. Howard, just coming back to you then, you've spoken a lot that this is a game that Rovers should win. These are the types of teams we should be beating. If we want to make playoffs, then we've got to be doing it. You've seen the team. You've heard a bit about how Rotherham might play. They might sit back. What sort of game are you expecting tonight?
I'm expecting one quite similar to what we've seen already this season, to be honest. I think it'll be one where we can control the tempo, we control the ball, and they'll just sit with the blocks and then just maybe hope to hit us on a break with a set piece or a cross. I can't help with that Michael Smith that they have up front is like a lamp post and just cross the ball into him. He's about 6'6" and he'll just win every header. And I could just imagine it's sort of like that Matt Smith type thing in it, who's at QPR. You just with how we are with them type of players like Jadon Stockley's, I always worry. But yeah, I think as it's been touched on, the first goal is very important. I've no doubt we'll win today. I don't think any of us think that we won't, and it's just about us getting off to a good start and then just controlling the game, not letting them back into it. And I probably expect us just to be quite comfortable. In truth, I'd be shocked if we weren't.
And before I come to, I'm going to come to Luke first for score predictions, just to pick up a couple of comments here from Stand and Stare. This could be a good night for us, but we need an early break. Fitness, I don't think, will worry us. And then gone on to say that Dolan could possibly be a critical sub in this one. Michael Pearson agreeing. An early goal to settle us down will be my wish. And then FM Works, thank you for this one. They've got some of their pacey players injured tonight, so hopefully that goes into our favour as well. And actually, just on the injuries, for those of you that haven't seen the on the other side from last night, Rotherham joined the queue of a number of people who I've chatted to, a number of teams who have got injuries as well. Rovers seem to be in the boat with pretty much every other Championship club as far as injuries are concerned. I think just Brentford are the only ones that seem to have had no injuries recently. So we are all in it together in that sense. And this is really where our strength in depth and some of the players we have got in positions has helped us a bit, I think. So Luke, I'm going to come to you first, but Rovers fans, whilst we're all giving our predictions, please give us your score predictions now for how you think the game is going to go and scorers and whatever. Luke, what is your prediction? Scorers, how do you think the game's going to go?
I think Stand and Stir usually comes in with some good comments, doesn't he, on our streams, and he has done tonight as well with that one, that it could be a good night for us, but we do need the early break. I think that's key tonight. We've said it a few times now. I feel like we say it over and over again, but the longer games go on for Blackburn, the longer you see our forward players get a little bit more frustrated, our defensive players get a little bit more nervous, and they're the sort of games that then, you know, we end up with these fine margins, maybe coming out on the losing side or drawing games that we should really be picking up an extra 2 points. So for me, I don't particularly think it is going to be one of them games. I agree. I think we're going to do quite well tonight. I think we'll have a lot of joy. I expect a fairly high scoring game, and I just hope that we don't concede is my big one tonight. I think if we don't concede, get a bit of confidence for that back four, get a bit of consistency from the back four as well, and I think we'll run away 3-0 winners tonight. I think Armour will find his boots again, that are worth at least 6 million on their own, Ryan, I think Rothwell will chip in tonight as well. So I think comfortable night for Rovers. I don't want to be too blasé about it, but like we've said, a should win, and I think we will.
I think the confidence for the back four, you're absolutely right, Luke, because I think tonight the back four on paper is probably the one we'd all pick, regardless of form, regardless of how the season's shaken out with, concerns about Lenihan and Ayala as a partnership. That's the back four you would pick. So if we can get some confidence in that back four and have that one pretty much every week, I think you're absolutely right. This could be the game to really start that off. So, no, that's a really fair point. I'll come to the predictions from our fans in a moment, but it's 3-0, you said, didn't you there, Luke? 3-0 from Luke.
Yeah, 3-0.
3-0, Luke. Joe, I'm going to come to you for your score prediction and how you think the game's going to
go. Based off us scoring first, I'll go 4-0, probably like the Coventry game. I don't think Rotherham are as poor defensively as Wickham were right at the start. So, 4-0 for me. Obviously, bearing in mind, if we don't get that first goal, it might be a bit more frustrating than that.
So 2-0, what'd you say? 4-0, sorry. 4-0 from Joe. God, I've got short-term memory loss tonight, I tell you. Howard, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I've gone for the same as Luke. I've gone for a 3-0 win as well. It's good to see that we've all gone for nils. We're not actually going to concede, according to us, but famous last words, isn't it? But yeah, I've gone a bit boring with goal scorers. I've got Armstrong, Elliott and Rothwell. Just who else would it be?
Kaminsky.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, there we go. We've got his name in lights again, Ryan. Confidence is high. Was it you that said it, Ryan? I thought it was someone else. It might have been you. It was you. High enough for another Kaminsky goal shout. I actually thought at one point that was on. 2-1 going into stoppage time. Kaminsky comes up. That could have been coming. My score prediction, I'm going 2-0. I think it's just going to be a kind of job done performance from Rovers tonight. It might not be too exciting. It might not hit the heights of some of those games where we have thrashed some sides, but never in any danger is what I'm expecting. Just a really kind of, we need the win, professional, that's it. So I'm saying 2-0 Rovers is my prediction. So I'm going to go through this mammoth long list of predictions that we've had. Dan, I think it starts with Abby Sahar, who says 4-0. Jack Hamer, 3-1 Rovers. FM Works, 2-0 Rovers. Stephen Mason, 2-1. El Scotty, 2-0 Rovers. Kevin Bradshaw, apart from the 2-1 win I predicted recently, mine have always gone the opposite way. So for that reason, 6-0 Rotherham. Michael Pearson, a big win, stick my neck out and say 5-0. Michael, I like it. Wilco 08, 4-0, and we will only get better when the fans return. By remotes, 3-0 to Rovers, Armstrong hat-trick. Stand and Stare, 3-0 or 3-1, but I'd love the clean sheet. Yeah, so would I, for that consistency thing that Luke was alluding to, Stand and Stare. Harry Walsh, 3-1 Rovers, Armstrong, Dolan and Elliott. Alexander Haben, early Rovers goal is key, but think it could be 2 or 3-0 Rovers. Silent Dan is going 5-0 Rovers.
Yes.
There he is. He's gone 5-0. He's on it. Dizzy, what is Dizzy doing in Tasmania? What are you doing? You've woken up at 5:20 a.m. and you're saying 0-0. Dizzy, you don't mean that.
Too early for optimism in Tanzania.
Not worth waking up to 0-0.
Dizzy, do you actually mean 0-0? Come on, not in Tasmania, surely. Denver Green, 1-1. Alexander Haben, we want 6 and up. And Callum Robinson, that being said, 5-0 Rovers. So I think there's a lot of confidence. I think we all respect Rotherham as a side, but what I'm detecting from a lot of these scores is we are expecting Rovers to get the job done tonight. And I think a few of you have said it in the comments, and Joe and Luke have said it as well. If we do get that early goal, then it could be a game where we do get some goals as well. So, yeah, we'll see how it pans out after that. I'm now eagerly awaiting Dizzy Thumb's revised comment from the 0-0. I hope he doesn't mean 0-0. I really hope he doesn't.
He meant 10, but he missed a 1.
Yeah, he did. Before we finish, Joe, is there anything else we want to say about the quiz or any other promo on that we've missed?
No, I don't think we've missed anything, but obviously, while everybody's here, do kind of get involved. There's a donations page. It's rcdonates.com. If you check that out, we're raising money for the Salvation Army. We've already raised over £135. I don't actually know what the exact figure is right now. That was as of yesterday, but even a couple of quid here or there, if you can afford it, will really help. We've got Matt Kilgallen, Elliot Bennett, and a host of other famous, current, former, and celebrity Blackburn Rovers related people getting involved. We've got Jacob from Lancs Live. We've got Rich Sharp from the Lancashire Telegraph, and Luke's going to be representing Rovers Chat. So we're going to have a good time, loads of fun. 7 p.m. on Wednesday next week. So join us, donate, and keep your eyes and ears peeled for more announcements.
And it'll be all over our social media channels, won't it? Those different announcements, Joe. So just keep an eye on our Twitter in particular, and you will see that announced. We are going to end the stream there then. It's just shy of 45 minutes or so till the game, so plenty of time for us to go and get a beer, get some food, whatever you need to do, and then we can enjoy that game when it kicks off at 7:45. Luke, Howard, and Joe, thanks ever so much for joining us on the pre-stream tonight. As ever, I have enjoyed it. As ever, I have got stick for Adam Armstrong's value, so that's going to taste so sweet when it comes through.
I just can't wait to watch Dizzy Thumbsy's 0-0.
Brilliant
on a Wednesday night.
It is. But no, he's standing firm to the 0-0 going against the trend. So I respect the prediction. We respect everyone's predictions.
Absolutely.
So That's good. Rovers fans, thanks as ever for joining us and interacting us this evening. We love having you on the show and love all of your comments. So please do join us later for the post-match stream. If you're not following us on Twitter, we are Rovers_chat. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it is Rovers Chat, where you can get all of the variety of content that we have got. Howard does a verdict show with Jacob. We've got the stat show with Andy and Joe. We've got all of our live streams. We've got On the Other Side. We've got the 1875 podcast. Loads of stuff on there that will meet everybody's tastes about Rovers, I am sure. So go and check us out if you've not subscribed. We will finish, though, with the 6 Yards Out sponsor message, who I hope can now forgive me that I am doing this at the right point in the show. So we will see you all later for the post-match stream, but enjoy the game. Bye, all. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.